Hey, welcome back to Business 101. Here is our second lecture on leadership, looking at the very short topic of employee work behaviors. Now, essentially what we're talking about, as you can see here on this slide, we define employee behavior as the pattern of actions by the members of an organization that directly or indirectly influences the organization's effectiveness. And I think that makes perfect sense. You understand that there are certain behaviors that we as employees perform at the job site, at the workplace, that directly affect what our organization ends up doing. And you can see there is performance behaviors, the total set of work-related behaviors that the organization expects employees to display. Some of that directly affects performance, but then there's also a whole set of behaviors that indirectly influence the organization's effectiveness, and this too is something that we as leaders and managers have to take into account. So for instance, you see here on this next slide the whole idea of organizational citizenship. And what we're trying to communicate with this term is the whole matrix, the whole aggregate of positive behaviors that do not directly contribute to the bottom line, but nevertheless, as part of organizational citizenry or organizational citizenship, will indirectly affect every human being that you come in contact with and their resultant performance. It sets the tone for the culture. It sets the tone for what a workplace is like to live and work in. As I sometimes describe it in my consulting calls with organizations who want to talk to me about the health or pathologies of their workplace culture, what is the air like in the room? Is it a relaxed, easy, friendly, warm environment to work in? Or is it a tense, pressure cooker kind of an environment that makes it difficult to be one's very best self at work? And there are a whole variety of counterproductive behaviors, some of them listed on the slide in front of you now, that can lead to rotten, horrible, tense, pressure cooker work environments. You can see them listed there, just some of them. Workplace bullying, absenteeism, turnover, theft, sabotage, at the worst instances, sexual harassment and workplace violence occurring in the workplace. These are all kinds of counterproductive behaviors, to put it mildly, which negatively affect workplace culture and therefore make it difficult for employees to bring their very best to work. These are a whole host of considerations that we have to observe, be vigilant about, and do something about as leaders and managers. Nevertheless, to simply describe them as employee work behaviors begins our conversation as we consider what are the kinds of things that leaders really need to stay on top of, to be managing, to be aware of, to be cognizant of, to take and initiate steps to manage the very best from our people when we talk about leadership and employee workplace behavior. See you in the next video.